Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Luxembourg? Yeah, you heard that right. Don't worry, I'm just as surprised as you are to be talking about it. But trust me, this tiny nation is an economic powerhouse. We're talking about the highest GDP per capita in the world. That's right, higher than Switzerland, higher than Norway, even higher than those oil-rich sheikdoms you see on Instagram. So, how did this tiny country, often mistaken for a city in Belgium, become such an economic rock star? Well, it's a tale of smart policies, strategic investments, and maybe a little bit of luck. We'll be exploring Luxembourg's unique political ideology, which somehow manages to balance free market capitalism with robust social welfare programs. It's like the Bernie Sanders of Europe, but with better tax breaks. Section 2, From Steel to Stocks. It's more interesting than it sounds. Luxembourg's journey to economic dominance wasn't always paved with gold, or, well, euros. It started with a much less glamorous industry steel. Yes, the tiny nation was once a hub for steel production, but like a phoenix rising from the ashes, or more accurately like a banker emerging from a pile of molten metal, Luxembourg reinvented itself. It transitioned from a manufacturing-based economy to a financial powerhouse attracting banks, investment firms, and multinational companies like bees to honey. And let's be real, those bees are probably attracted to the honey-glazed ham they eat in Luxembourg, but I digress. The point is, Luxembourg's economic transformation is a story worth telling. We'll delve into the specific technologies and innovations driving its continued success, from fintech to space mining. Yes, you heard that right. Space mining. Section 1. The Steel Age. No, not the Marvel movie. Picture Luxembourg in the 19th century, not exactly a financial hub. More like a hub for, well, hubs. Wagon wheels to be exact. See, Luxembourg was rich in iron ore, the key ingredient in steel. And guess what they needed to make all those wagon wheels for a rapidly industrializing Europe? You got it? Steel. This steel boom put Luxembourg on the map, literally and economically. But like a heavy metal band after a world tour, Luxembourg knew it couldn't keep headbanging forever. The steel industry was volatile, and relying on one industry is like relying on your friend who says they'll pay you back eventually. It's risky. So, Luxembourg started diversifying its economy, like a responsible investor putting their money in more than just their cousin's Etsy shop. The government made strategic investments in infrastructure and education, laying the groundwork for a more knowledge-based economy. Think of it as Luxembourg, trading in its steel-toed boots for a nice pair of loafers. Stylish and practical. Section 2, Banks, Taxes, and a whole lot of money. Now let's talk about the B word, banks. In the 1960s and 70s, Luxembourg decided to roll out the red carpet, or should we say, the red account statement for international banks. They lowered taxes, eased regulations, and basically said, come on in, the financial water's fine. And come in they did. Banks flocked to Luxembourg like pigeons to a freshly dropped baguette, because, you know, Europe. This influx of financial institutions transformed Luxembourg from a steel town to a financial hub, a place where money went to make even more money. Now that's what we call a glow-up. But before you start picturing shady backroom deals and suitcases full of unmarked bills, it's important to note, Luxembourg plays by the rules. Well, mostly. They've worked hard to shed their image as a tax haven, implementing stricter transparency regulations, and cooperating with international efforts to combat tax evasion. Think of it as Luxembourg cleaning up its act, or at least hiring a really good PR team. So why Luxembourg? Why not, say, Liechtenstein? Well, for starters, Luxembourg's got location on its side. Nestled between Germany, France, and Belgium, it's basically the heart of Europe. It's like the studio apartment you find that's somehow walking distance to everything. This strategic location made Luxembourg an ideal hub for businesses looking to access the European market. But let's not forget those sweet, sweet tax breaks. Luxembourg's low corporate tax rates, especially compared to its neighbors, made it a magnet for multinational companies looking to, shall we say, optimize their tax burden. It's like finding a loophole in the system, except it's not a loophole, it's just Luxembourg. This combination of factors, prime location, favorable tax policies, and a stable political environment, created the perfect storm for economic growth. Luxembourg transformed itself from a small industrial nation to a global financial powerhouse, all without discovering oil or becoming a tech giant yet. But that, my friends, is a story for another act. Now you might be thinking, hold on, a financial hub with low taxes and a business-friendly environment? That sounds like a recipe for rampant inequality and a society where the rich get richer and everyone else just gets a participation trophy. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong to think that. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the invention of money. But here's where Luxembourg throws a wrench in the gears of that tired old narrative. Despite its capitalist leanings, Luxembourg has managed to create a society that's surprisingly egalitarian. It's like finding out your Wall Street banker neighbor also volunteers at a soup kitchen on weekends. It's unexpected but kind of heartwarming. How do they do it? Well, it's all about finding a balance, a delicate dance between free market principles and a strong social safety net. Think of it as a waltz, but instead of fancy dresses and waltzing shoes, it's corporate tax breaks and universal health care. Remember those high taxes we talked about earlier? Well, they're not just going into some government official's secret offshore account. Luxembourg invests heavily in its people, providing free healthcare, free education, yes, even university, and generous social welfare programs. It's enough to make a Scandinavian country blush. Now, before you pack your bags and book a one-way ticket to Luxembourg, it's important to note that this system isn't without its critics. Some argue that the high taxes stifle innovation and discourage entrepreneurship. Others point out that the cost of living in Luxembourg is, well, let's just say you better have a well-paying job, preferably in finance. But for the most part, Luxembourg's model seems to be working. It boasts a high standard of living, low crime rates, and a generally content population. It's like the Switzerland of social welfare, but with less neutrality and more delicious pastries. Section 3. The tricky balancing act, keeping businesses and workers happy. How does Luxembourg keep both businesses and workers happy? It's like walking a tightrope, juggling tax breaks and social programs. Social dialogue is key. Government, businesses, and trade unions collaborate. It's like a group project where everyone contributes. Education and skills development are crucial. Luxembourg invests in its workforce for global competition. This creates a virtuous cycle of growth and welfare. It's the power of good economic policy. Section 1. Luxembourg, the final frontier of finance and space tech. Okay, so we've established that Luxembourg is an economic powerhouse with a knack for balancing capitalism and social welfare. But what about the future? Well, Luxembourg isn't just resting on its laurels or its piles of money. They're looking ahead, investing in cutting-edge technologies that sound like they're straight out of a science fiction novel. We're talking about fintech, space mining, and digital infrastructure that would make even the most tech-savvy among us go, wait, Luxembourg is doing what? It's like finding out your grandparents are secretly cryptocurrency traders. Unexpected, but also kind of impressive. So buckle up because we're about to blast off into the future of Luxembourg, where the sky's the limit, literally, because they're also planning to mine asteroids. Yes, you heard that right. Asteroids. Section 2, FinTech frenzy moving money at the speed of Luxembourg, which is pretty fast. Remember all those banks that flock to Luxembourg like pigeons to a freshly baked croissant? Because, again, Europe. Well, they're not just sitting around counting their euros anymore. Luxembourg has become a hotbed for FinTech innovation, attracting startups and established companies alike. We're talking about mobile payments, blockchain technology, and online lending platforms that make traditional banking look like using a rotary phone. Luxembourg is embracing the digital revolution, creating a regulatory environment that's both supportive and forward-thinking. It's like they're trying to make financial transactions as easy and efficient as ordering takeout on your phone, which, let's be honest, is the dream. And it's not just about making things easier for consumers. Luxembourg's fintech sector is also attracting major players in the financial industry who are setting up shop in Luxembourg to take advantage of the country's expertise and innovation. It's a win-win situation, or as they say in Luxembourg, tout le monde y gagne. That's French for everyone wins because, well, Luxembourg. Space mining. Because why mine on Earth when you can mine asteroids? Luxembourg is aiming for the stars with its ambitious plans for space mining. They're sending robots to asteroids to extract valuable resources like platinum, gold, and water. Asteroids are floating treasure chests of rare earth elements and precious metals. Luxembourg wants to lead this new space race. It's like the California gold rush, but in space. From space rocks to Silicon Valley, Luxembourg's tech ambitions. So, we've talked about fintech and space mining, but Luxembourg's tech ambitions don't stop there. They're not just dabbling in the tech world, they're diving in head first, like a banker jumping into a pool of money, hopefully wearing a swimsuit this time. They're investing heavily in research and development, attracting top talent from around the world, and creating a supportive ecosystem for startups and established tech companies alike. Think of it as Luxembourg building its own Silicon Valley, but with less avocado toast and more, well, Luxembourgish things, whatever those may be. They're focusing on areas like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and data analytics, positioning themselves at the forefront of the digital economy. It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of tech chess, and they're making all the right moves. Education, innovation, and a whole lot of startups. Luxembourg's tech success is driven by its commitment to education. A skilled workforce is essential for innovation and global competition. Teach a man to code, and he'll create the next billion-dollar app. Luxembourg invests heavily in education, from primary school to university. They offer extensive STEM programs to thrive in the digital age. Luxembourg is also a hub for entrepreneurship with a thriving startup ecosystem. So, what does the future hold for Luxembourg? Well, if their track record is anything to go by, it's going to be bright, like really bright, like you might need sunglasses to look at it bright. They're a small country with big ambitions, and they're not afraid to take risks, embrace innovation, and invest in their future. They're like the little engine that could, but instead of chugging up a hill, they're launching themselves into the stratosphere of economic and technological dominance. Luxembourg is proving that size isn't everything. What matters is having a clear vision, a willingness to adapt, and a commitment to creating a society that benefits everyone. And of course, it doesn't hurt to have a few billion euros lying around to invest in cutting-edge technologies. So, the next time you hear someone say, Luxembourg, where's that? You can impress them with your newfound knowledge of this tiny but mighty nation that's punching way above its weight class in the global arena. So, there you have it. The story of Luxembourg. A country smaller than Rhode Island with a population that could fit in your average city, yet somehow, it's an economic titan. They've got more money per person than a trust fund kid who just discovered their love for cryptocurrency. How did they do it? Well, it's a combination of factors. Smart economic policies, strategic investments, a favorable location, and maybe a few tax breaks sprinkled in for good measure. But it's also about more than just money. Luxembourg has managed to create a society that's both prosperous and equitable, proving that you don't have to choose between capitalism and social welfare. You can have your cake and eat it too. And by cake, I mean universal healthcare and a top-notch education system. Not every country can copy Luxembourg's model and expect the same results, but there are valuable lessons to learn. First, be adaptable. Luxembourg evolved from steel to finance to fintech and space tech. Second, invest in your people. Education and training are key. Third, collaboration is essential. Government, businesses, and trade unions work together. So there you have it. Luxembourg, the little country that could, and did. They've shown the world that it's possible to be small but mighty, wealthy but equitable, and a leader in both finance and space exploration. Who knows what amazing things they'll accomplish next? Maybe they'll become the first nation to colonize Mars, or perhaps they'll invent a self-driving waffle iron. The possibilities are endless. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of Luxembourg, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more informative and hopefully entertaining videos about, well, everything. And, hey, while you're at it, why not leave a comment below telling us what you found most surprising about Luxembourg? Did you know about their space mining ambitions, or their love of fintech? Or maybe you just want to share your favorite Luxembourgish word? Personally, I'm a big fan of moyen, which means hello. It's simple yet elegant, just like Luxembourg itself.